Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Courtney, and in today's video, I'm going to be explaining how to pick crystals, as in physically using all of your senses, and also how to choose a crystal when you're shopping online. This was a requested video, and I'm so excited to talk about this with you guys right now because I believe it's pretty important to follow these methods when trying to find the right crystal for yourself. All right, let's dive into today's video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a couple methods you can try when picking a crystal, the difference between knowing what you want before going in the crystal shop versus having no idea what you want, how to pick a crystal online, and if you're still having trouble finding a crystal, I have a hack that really works that I'm going to share with you. But what's most important here is really letting this process come naturally. You don't want to feel rushed, and it's all about connecting with your intuition and being open. Okay, so let's say you just got the idea in your head that you want to go crystal shopping. Maybe it's your first time going crystal shopping, or you have crystal shopped in the past, but you just feel like you haven't really found the right stone for you yet. It's really crucial to let your intuition guide you throughout this whole process, and you really want to notice how you feel while you're crystal shopping. I think that's really key in the whole process, but I will say that there are no rules. So depending on what you're looking for out of this video, I'm going to go through a few scenarios on how to pick a crystal. Okay, so the first scenario, let's say this is your first time ever going crystal shopping. So fun. So when you enter the crystal shop, you might feel a bit overwhelmed because there's so much to see. And what I like to do when I go to a new store is I'll start at a corner and I'll just slowly make my way down the aisles so that I can look at every single crystal because I'm crazy and I want to see them all. So as you start going down the aisles and looking at the displays, you might notice that there's these little info cards that say the crystal or stone's name and a little bit of a description of what it does. These are super helpful and awesome because you can kind of figure out what the crystal does right away. You can either look at these cards first or the crystal first, whichever feels more natural. Again, there are no rules. Let's say something catches your eye. Let's say that you don't look at the card. You just look at the crystal first and you're really captivated by the crystal. You're gonna wanna take a really close look at it. This is a really good first indicator that a crystal's energy is coming through to you because you are visually attracted to it. So this is great. You feel this attraction to this crystal. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna pick it up and get a better look at it. Put it really close to you, really examine it. Look inside the crystal. If you have natural light around you, that's great. Or if you just have a light fixture that you can shine the crystal or stone into, you wanna just see what this crystal is. Are there any rainbows? Are there any phantoms? Are there anything like flashes in there? Like you want to really explore this crystal and see if there's anything else that's more unique that draws you in. Alrighty, so we got a really good look at the crystal. The next method you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold that crystal in your hands and you're kind of just going to sense how you feel while you're holding it. It's kind of like we switch off from this visual aspect to this sensational aspect. So you might think, all right, how does this crystal feel? Is it small in my hand? Is it big? Is it rough? Does it fit in my hand so perfectly, like it was made just for me? Do you feel good while you're holding the crystal? Is there a slight temperature change while you're holding it? Do you sense any vibration in your hand? These are all things you sense through energy, and you may be feeling these because you are open to receiving the crystal's energy. Sometimes even when I have an open mind in this process, I won't feel a big sensation while I'm holding the crystal. You know, sometimes I might feel a very, very subtle vibration, but it doesn't happen that often for me. I don't want this part to throw you guys off, but it is something to note that might happen when you're using all of your senses. Another thing that might happen and pop up while you're crystal shopping, another indicator, is you might be gazing upon crystals or walking by and you might catch something with your eye. So you might see something and then all of a sudden you hear something in your head. It's almost like the crystal is saying to you like, hey, look at me, pick me up over here. This happens to me the most and it's a big indicator that a crystal is connecting with you. Okay, let's move on to that second scenario. Let's say you already know what crystal you want going into the crystal shop. Like you know you want a malachite stone. You're like, okay, I'm looking for that malachite. You go in that store, you look around, you see the section, there's a bunch of different malachites. You can try all of the methods I talked about when, you're choosing out of a group of that crystal. You just really want to use your intuition and do all the things that I talked about. You're just a little ahead of the game in this process because you already know what you want. You're already feeling that connection, but it comes to play your intuition with finding the right one once you're there. Now, if you're still having trouble, even though you've tried all these methods, there is one thing you can do to see if the crystal is right for you. Let's say you're just simply not sure about the crystal. You're picking it up, you're doing everything, you're trying to sense, but you just aren't feeling it yet. This is what I do when I kind of have this problem is I'll take the crystal, I'll put it back down exactly where I found it, and I will just walk away. I'll go walk away, I'll look at other stones and crystals, and if after a few minutes I don't start to feel a little bit of anxiety and a slight panic arising, thinking in my head like, oh my gosh, someone's gonna get that crystal, I need to go back and get it, like, oh no, like, what did I do? Like, that's a clear sign that you connected with that crystal and that it's probably the right crystal for you. Now, if you walk away and you don't feel any of these things and you're kind of just like, I don't really think I needed it. I'm good, I'm fine. That's also good because you recognize that it wasn't the crystal for you. I will say though, there have been plenty of times where I've walked into a crystal shop and I'll just go and pick some stuff that I think are pretty. I'm like, oh, I like that. I won't read what the crystal does. I'll simply just be like, I'm attracted to you, I'm gonna buy you, I like you. I'll take note of the name of the crystal, and then when I go home, I'll do my own research, and literally every time I do this, when I do my own research and I find out what that stone does, it is exactly what I'm looking for, what I need. It's so crazy how the universe works and how, sometimes crystals just pick you in this process, and it's so cool. And that's honestly another method of trying to pick a crystal. You can definitely do this when you go crystal shopping. Like I said, there are no rules. Okay, so let's move on to our final scenario. Let's say you're not in a position to go crystal shopping. There's nothing around and you kind of just prefer to shop online. There is absolutely nothing wrong with buying crystals online. It's all good. It's the same exact thing. You are still using your senses in this process. The only thing that's different is that you don't get to physically touch the crystals, obviously, but you can still connect with your intuition and you can still be guided towards that crystal energy online. I personally like to make sure that when I'm shopping online for crystals, I want to make sure that that seller has really high quality photos of the crystal so I can really get a good look at it, so I can be visually drawn to it and know that I'm attracted to it. Another thing that's a plus when I'm looking at crystals online is I really love when crystal dealers will have size comparisons online. So they might show the stone in their hand, or if it's a big stone, they'll compare it to something, kind of like showing me the scale of the crystal. I think that's really great and it helps me really visualize what the crystal is going to be like. If there are no pictures of like scale, it's also really good to take note of the measurements of the crystal because you want to really visualize how it's going to take up space in your home. If you're more of an online shopper, I have a video that's great for you. It's all about my recommendations for crystal shopping. I list off 10 Etsy shops, small businesses that really sell amazing crystals. I'll go ahead and link that below and I'll have a little pop-up card show up right now. Definitely go check them out if you're an online shopper. Like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with buying crystals online. I personally love doing both. I'm really fortunate to live in Los Angeles, so there are a ton of crystal shops here that I love to explore on the weekends and in my free time. It's like my favorite thing to do. I love experimenting with crystals and working with them, and if you're watching this video, I bet you are eager to do the same thing. If you're brand new to the crystal world, I have a really good playlist that you can watch so you can learn about crystals, how to take care of them, and just the proper care and all that good stuff. So I'll definitely have another card pop up right here so you can check that playlist out. I hope this video helped you guys out with how to pick a crystal. Maybe you can try these practices and let me know how they go. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, come on and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next one.